Did it take half an hour? I think a little bit longer, at least for the first time. Maybe when you're doing it next time, you'll be like whizzing through the things that I had to kind of figure out and suss out. But yeah, here's the apron. What I did is I found a pattern online. So if you want to follow along, take this pattern. I still need to cut it all, glue it together or tape it together, and then we can get going. Making of this apron suggests it takes 30 minutes to make the apron, so let's see if I can achieve that. I think she didn't mean the cutting and gluing, because that on itself I think will take half an hour. So let's get on with cutting this out and gluing it together. So when you're first printing the pattern out, there is usually a check box that you need to remeasure based on your printer output. So as you can see, I did that when I was printing this out. There is a total of 10 pages that you have to print out. So once you start cutting the papers out, you connect the lines, and I'm using sellotape. First tip for you today, only sellotape where you actually got pattern rather than a whole lot. It doesn't have to be perfect either. So this apron is for my daughter's nativity play, and she wants to say a couple of words to you. Come on.
Hello everyone, my name is Olivia and my mum is making this apron for me. And I think you should subscribe.
There you go. You were told to subscribe. She's really good at negotiating and making you do things. So if you don't do it, she's going to come and find you. So once you've taped all these papers together, it's time to cut out the pattern. You just follow the lines that here. We just tried the pattern on to see what the size. It's too long, so I'm going to take 7 inches off the bottom. And then I'm going to reduce the middle bit as well, slightly, and then the top as well. I'm not going to cut it short, I'm just going to fold it. Because I might want to do full-size apron later on, so it was advertised one size fits all, but I guess it's not a children's size, so. Again, it doesn't need to be perfect. Come on in my middle. That's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's good underneath the arm.
Yeah.
I just think that's it. So what I've done, 7 inches from the bottom, 2 inches on the middle, and 2 inches on the top.
Mummy, what's facing? What's a facing?
I think that is what you put on here. Well, I needed to cut out 2 pockets. Wonder if it's meant to be like double-sided or something. But yeah, I don't know what the facing is.
What's a facing?
I think that is what you put on here. So I'm not going to cut that immediately. I think I could do without cutting it. So there is some straps that needs to be in the fold. Cut pockets too. Yeah, I don't know why you need 2 facing strips. I guess are the hold the apron together. So it's definitely needed. But this is my pattern now, and let me show you what fabric we've chosen. So we're using this calico material, what you usually use for trial runs of your patterns, but I think this is perfect colour. I think the strips, I'm going to see how long I need them, because I don't think I need them as long as they've been advised here as well. So I guess the half an hour starts now. cutting itself took about 15 minutes, so I've got 15 minutes left to achieve the timeline. So I've opted for the overlocker for the main piece. I altered what I cut out as well, so I did cut out the pocket, but I think I'm going to redesign it a bit. So I'm going to serge around that, because my fabric is same colour obviously both sides, so there is no visibility. I've made tip number 2 for today. I've made a little biro mark on the other side, wrong side of the fabric, so that I know which side is the wrong side. I have cut a neck strap a little bit longer just in case, because I altered the fabric, the pattern, and then 2 straps that obviously you tie around. I left these the same size. So I didn't cut the 2 pocket pieces. I don't really know why I haven't cut 2 pocket pieces. So if you want to follow my method of doing this apron, obviously continue watching this video. And if you want to see how Austin has done the apron with 2 pocket pieces, then go and follow her video. If you want me to show closer how I'm doing the corners to make it really neatly, because I'm using that technique for my wrist straps that I do for my small business, I can record one of these videos later on if you want me to show you that. So that's overlocking done. Let's pack up the machine. Every time I pack up the overlocker, I give it a little brush. Get rid of all the lintels. Tip number 3 for you today. So next, let's get the ironing mat out. I've invested in quite big wool ironing mats. If you want to get one for yourself, it's from Amazon. I'll leave the link below. And my mini iron. As I said, I've gone broke how I'm doing things, so I'm just thinking these needs to be folded and sewn around. So I'm going to be ironing them half. Oh, maybe it's better to sew it, flip it over. Yeah, I'll try that. But in the meantime, let's pocket. So pocket, I didn't follow a pattern. I cut it a little bit longer. So what I'm planning doing is making quite long kind of fold over when I'm sewing it, so it's decorative as well, and might do more kind of slots in it, like where you'll be putting your paintbrushes, etc. I think the stitch length, I'm going to go quite long one. Next I think I'm going to sew all these strips together and then turn it around. You know, I'm going to do that one end diagonally so that it's nicely finished as well. That's what I mean. Wish you luck turning that around. Right, let's figure out how to turn them around. I'm thinking knitting needle. First of all, let's cut off some of the bulk. So we're going to try that one. I've gone 5 minutes over half an hour now, so I am rubbish at sewing. Oh, that lady was very optimistic. I'm sure there's an easier way of turning this around, but we take what you've been given. So it's now next day and the 30 minutes went out of the window, obviously. So what happened? You know, I went off a kind of piece and how I sewed these straps together and then had to turn them around. They were quite narrow straps, so that was challenging. I didn't have any like specialist tools to turn them around. Last night when I was watching telly, I was just struggling with them, turning them around. But I got them turned around. It definitely took longer than 30 minutes. But let's just forget that part of the process and maybe eliminate that so far. So I've overlocked the edges. Let's just recap what we did yesterday. I've overlocked the pocket and sewn it down quite kind of wide. I made the pattern wider so I could have this detail on it. I need to position that on the apron. I think the rest of the process should be quite straightforward. Famous last words again. But yeah, I need to position the pocket, iron these, position them in the right place, measure, make sure they're the right length. I am thinking if I could do some kind of extendable strap around the neck, but I think that would be too complicated, so I'll try and stay away with that. But yeah, first thing I need to iron these, position the pocket, and it's just so that should be it. Fingers crossed. But yeah, are you thinking why I'm wearing a hat? So if you haven't seen one of my recent video from the summertime, we built this little garden studio. It's supposed to be insulated, but in the winter time it doesn't really keep the heat, so that's what you would think is the insulated meaning, but apparently not. So it is getting a little bit cold in here. You might hear some buzzing noise as well because I've got a heater going, so it just clarifies that off as well. I think I explained yesterday, I made the edges, one edge like closed already, so it makes my life easier. I think I'm gonna stitch kind of this edge where I sewn it together as well. That's why I'm thinking next time if I do that apron again, I'll just iron and then stitch it on the right side rather than on the wrong side, trying to turn it around and then having all the havoc that I had yesterday. So I think that is the process improvement I could incorporate. Don't know if you've ever worked with calico, but for me it's my first time. It feels quite different fabric to cotton poplin that I usually use. It's quite firm, so why don't people kind of use it for making their swatch? I don't really understand how they would know that how it's going to sit on the cotton poplin or any other fabric kind of that you're using. So if you know what's the purpose of using that fabric to making swatches, is it called even swatches? Let me know. I think these straps as well, I'm going to try and incorporate them into the seams that I'm going to be doing, so it's good enough. Right, the ironing is done now. Might do the turning quite wide so that when I do this sewing edge here, it's quite nice. I think I'm gonna install the pocket next. What I'm planning doing as well is we do one big pocket and then a couple of smaller ones perhaps on one side, just to make it look like where you would put your brushes and stuff like that. Or if you're using it for cooking, you could put your cooking like whisks and utensils. It's a good approach. Stitch length, I think I'm going to put 3. I'm going to do some kind of crisscross on the corner to keep it firmer. I'll see how it goes. So the pocket is on. As I said, I think I'm going to do a few little compartments, one big and then 2 small at measure. Okay, I think I've got rough lines here. Ta-da! The pocket is all done. So it's got one big compartment and 2 smaller ones. The straps now. So we've clipped most of the sides apart from the front top. I think I'm going to do that separately, but yeah, I think we're ready to sew the straps on. Stitch length, I'm thinking going for 3. But I want to leave quite kind of wide edge, just I think it's going to look more classic. What I like about serging the edges first is that you don't have to be worrying about folding again, and I don't like that faff. Alright, let's take a look. Straps on, edges done, as long as I've done it right way. Yeah, that's the right way. Just need to do the top now. I think I need to measure though. Oh, this is not supposed to. Let me put it in a place and then I can amend it when I'm checking it with her. I think I definitely need to make them shorter. I don't know how much shorter. I'm gonna be going like that and then like that. Okay, like that and then like that. Go and check it out. I'll be back. Right, I measured it as expected. I had to make it a little bit shorter. I think I'm going to loosen it just a bit, just to make sure the head goes over nicely, doesn't get stuck. I think I'm going to leave these loops in here because in the future, if she grows, she could easily extend them, and they're not going to be like annoying or anything. So let's sew it together. Last stitch apparently. And I got another order from my other half to make him one, so that's how it works in the sewing industry. If you show a good craftsmanship, you'll get extra orders. Nice from the front. So here you have it. Art apron for the Christmas play.